name is Matthew Emmett, and this is my marriage interview with my parents, Jenny and Bertrand. Okay, guys, how long have you guys been married?
It will be 30 years in September.
30 years in September. It's a very long time.
It is a very long time.
Okay, how old were you when you first met each other?
We were 18. It was college.
18 years old.
Where were you guys when you first met each other?
St. John's University.
At St. John's. Describe your courtship.
Well, it didn't start right away. It wasn't until the next fall, right? It was the summer we met, was freshman year. And then it wasn't until the fall of sophomore year that we started dating. So, it was, your daddy's very sweet. We did a lot of fun things together. Let's see, what else do you want to say about courtship?
We dated for 8 years before we actually got married.
Yeah.
So we
It was a
had a long
courtship.
courtship. And that was primarily because I was working my way through school. And, we did what most couples do. We went out to see movies and some theater and dinners and those kinds of things. We came to each other's house and hung out and watched some TV, and we had picnics, and I think we had a fairly typical courtship, but it was a lot of fun, and obviously if it hadn't been 8 years is an awful long time to realize that things aren't working out. So it was very, very good.
It was.
What was your favorite thing you guys did as a couple?
I think as a couple, like one particular incident or something that we
Or
did?
each of you?
Oh, well, one of the things that I think I loved the most was going to Vermont with Daddy
Going to Vermont.
at the house that Daddy's family owned.
And what was your favorite thing, Dad?
Well, we both like and still do like movies. So going to the movies was always, we used to see just about every movie that was ultimately going to be, on the list for an Academy Award. So we saw a lot of movies. I enjoyed that a lot. And yes, definitely. Traveling was also
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. Vermont is where we go to the most, though. We pretty much went there every year. Right?
A couple times a year.
A couple
usually.
times a year. And it was, well, you've been to where we were, Stowe area, further north. And it's just beautiful, great scenery.
It was a setting in which it was hard to have a bad time.
Yeah, that's true,
It was
right?
an idyllic setting.
Yes, it's gorgeous.
Very nice, very
And I
nice.
still like going today with Daddy and with you.
Very nice. How old were you guys when you got married?
27.
27.
You were 26. Oh, you were 27.
27.
Yeah.
27. Nice. What were you looking for in your spouse?
Well, I think when we first started going out, we weren't necessarily looking for a spouse. We were looking for, boyfriend, girlfriend.
What were you guys looking at each other then?
Well,
What did you like about Dad? What did you like about Mom?
I like
Was it like-
everything about Daddy. He's very kind, very loving. He, is very good at saying things. He's a very good speaker and bringing things together in a conversation. Cute, certainly.
And Dad, what is your opinion on the matters?
Mommy is a kind and generous person. Good soul, obviously. And I think sometimes you don't necessarily know what you're looking for, but when you find it, you know it. And I don't know that I was looking for a kind and generous and warm-hearted person necessarily. I don't know if I was thinking in my mind that's what I want.
Yeah.
But once it was in front of me, I knew that was the ideal for me.
Cool. How does the reality of marriage compare to your expectations of what marriage would be? Reality compared to your fantasy in your mind. What?
We skipped some. Okay, whatever. I think the fantasy of marriage, well, for a girl, where, you always dream of this great wedding and, always the romance, of course. And that's there all along when you get married too. But it is different. I mean, suddenly you're living with somebody on a full-time basis, and that's something you have to get used to, right?
Yeah, I think, the question I think is more marriage as a marathon versus the, sprint that is the day you get married. Again, it's one of those type of things. I mean, some people might have and do think about these things and dwell upon it. I don't know that too much of my life or our lives I could have foreseen as if I had a crystal ball. Okay, life unfolds day to day, and you take what comes day to day, and you can either make the proverbial lemonade out of it, or you get a lot of lemons. So, not that there aren't just purely good days. It's just that life is, it can be difficult, to be sure. So, what did I think of marriage going in? I don't think again that I was thinking, oh, it's got to be this way, it's got to be that way. I think being flexible and adapting to what comes, good or bad, is the way to approach it. So, what did I think marriage would be like? If I gave it any thought, and I don't know that I did, I don't think it looks anything like I thought. I don't think it looks anything like I thought it would. So,
Which is
Not like traveling like everywhere.
Yeah.
And all the going away and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You just the things that happen to you.
Yeah.
Are just.
Just as a here's
the outside world.
Here's a for instance. We are planning our wedding, getting ready. Okay, I am working. I come back to where I'm working, and here is my good friend Steve's soon-to-be wife, or maybe at this point they are married. They got married a year before us. She is standing out in front of where we work. Why is she there? Because Mommy's father had a stroke.
Yeah.
So
Unexpected.
Unexpected.
Yeah.
Very much so. So, he wound up not being at the wedding, obviously, and passed away subsequently a few years after that. But I'm just saying, those kinds of things happen in life all the time. So, expectations other than that, I'll care for her, she'll care for me, we'll be there for each other come what may. I don't know that you can,
Put a fine point on it.
Yeah, I mean, you can have plans, I'm going to get a job, she's going to have a job, we're going to get a house, we're going to have children, those kinds of things. But, specifically, I think it's which actually makes it much more interesting. If you knew what was coming, it probably would be boring. So it keeps it interesting.
So I'm looking at the boring aspect of things from now on. Okay.
Yeah.
So.
If that's the way you want to interpret what I just said, I don't think that's what I just said, but go ahead, yeah.
Okay. So how do children affect marriage?
They make it more wonderful and glorious than ever.
I feel like you're being sarcastic with that.
Not entirely. Children, in this case you, do really bring an
The
added
joy
depth
to the
of
family.
Love, an added depth of love to our lives, definitely. But, it was a change.
Yeah.
Definitely a change. I mean, if you say, what did you expect going into marriage? What do you expect going into having a kid? It's just,
Fun in the beginning. Okay, on How do children affect marriage?
Sorry, what is it?
How do children affect marriage? Just resuming.
Yeah. So, very positively.
Very positively.
Yeah.
How important are money and marriage?
You know, and I've said to you many times, you know, there's not much you can do, especially in our society and the world we live in, without money. So it's very important. You know, I mean, it allows us to have this home and the things that we have, and you know, all the accoutrement of life is gotten through money, but it's not the end all and be all. I mean, again, this is truly a case of you can have all the money in the world, but if you don't have that love and companionship and desire to be with each other, that means all of us, the three of us, then all the money in the world is not going to save that situation. So it's important. There's no doubt about it. You can't be Pollyanna, like, oh, it'll be great, it'll be fine. And no, you need money, but you know what? It cannot consume you.
How did the physical aspect of the marriage change from when you were married?
Well,
Like,
Yeah.
could,
You want to?
could you just read that one more time?
how did the physical aspect of the marriage change from when you were married? From before and after?
Okay.
Like the going places and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, I think for the first 10 years.
Okay, we're back. So, on question 11, how did the physical aspect of the marriage change from when you were married?
Okay, well, the problem with this question is that it presupposes that we're no longer married. The question is asked, how did your physical aspect of the marriage change from when you were married? Well, we are still married, so that question is kind of poorly scripted. But I will just say this. Like so many other things, you know, there is when you first meet and when you first fall in love, there is a lot of desire and want, and as you grow older, that's replaced, not, you know, it doesn't get lost in the marriage, but it's replaced with coming together on a different level, knowing each other more deeply, appreciating things that you didn't know about that person that you appreciate now infinitely more. So has the physical aspect of things changed? Yes, of course they do. I mean, it's just, that's the way life is. But it's replaced in many instances by, I would say, a deeper love.
Mm-hmm. How important are similar values and or religion, cultural background, educational background, or age differential?
Well, you know, speaking from our own point of view, we do share, you know, most of the characteristics. We do have the same religion. We're about the same age. What were the other ones?
Educational background and cultural background.
Educational background. That's, you know, we share that. So to us, I guess it has been very important. It's hard to say that, you know, it wasn't important or wouldn't be important if one of us, you know, came from a different culture or came from a different religion or what have you. I don't know what that would have looked like. I do know that for us, you know, we all came from that background, that history. I would say that, you know, it from the fact that we both knew the world that we were living in and who we were in that world, I think it made us more comfortable with each other than we might otherwise have been from the start. You know, we both knew the world that we knew, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you know what, here's the thing. There's an old expression, you know, opposites attract. We're not really opposite. We're actually quite similar in a lot of respects. So that notion, I think, could be true, you know, for some people, opposites attract, that sort of a thing. In our case, we, again, as Mommy just said, we have so much in common in our background. Although I will say this, Mommy is Polish and Italian, and I got to know some Polish food through her family that I hadn't really eaten before necessarily. And that was kind of a nice cultural thing that I didn't know so
Nice
much about.
guamki.
Nice guamki, absolutely. And so that's it. I mean, I think all those things, like so much here in life, so much, can either be a benefit or a detraction, depending on your point of view and depending on how you want to look at it. If you want to look at it as like, oh, you're different from me, I don't like that, some element, and that could, tear you apart or be a problem, or it could draw you closer together. It really just depends on your perspective and how you look at things.
What advice would you give teenagers who are dating and thinking about getting married today? What advice?
Teenage. Well, teenagers, I would say, are a little young to be thinking that far ahead. At least, I don't know what age you're talking about, they're 14 or 15, whatever. Definitely too young. I mean, again, we started dating when we were 19, so I guess technically we were still teenagers, but we weren't going into this like, oh, we're going to get married. We weren't thinking that way. I think that any teenager who is looking at their life, starting with marriage at a teenage year, I think it's, you're not, personally, I don't think you're ready for it, and I kind of don't think any teenager is ready for that. There's just too much in the world that they should see, want to see, learn, and wait a little while, it's no rush.
Time is of the essence.
Is it?
Well, that sort of flies in the face of what Mommy
Right.
But here, I'll just say this. This actually here, this comes back to money. It comes back to money. Okay, just I don't mean to again make this about money, but I will just say this: that if you marry very young and you don't have a way of supporting your life, that will bring undue stress to the situation, the likes of which will probably cause a rending of the relationship. Because I know this statistics bear this out. One of the biggest issues is financial stress in a relationship, and if you have financial stress, it's kind of hard to get past that because it becomes all consuming. And so just from that standpoint alone, you need to be able to, your later teens as you go into college and then your early 20s are, pretty tumultuous times. You're working your way through school, you're trying to get your first job maybe, or start a career, or whatever that might be. And those are stressful times. Those are very, very stressful times. And actually, Mommy and I lived through that together. And maybe that's part of the bond that we had, that we lived through those things because, stress is not necessarily a bad thing. And if you can use it to create a stronger bond, then you should have a pretty successful marriage. But financially, you're not ready when you're in your teens. You're just not. Unless you're a child actor who's got tons of cash or something. Or a trust fund, maybe.
What advice would you give to a young married couple that is experiencing marital difficulties and thinking about divorce?
You're overthinking it. You're overthinking it. Because if you really want to be, I've said this here, I've said this many times to Mommy. So we love each other. So what are we going to do? We're going to stay mad? Are we going to stay mad at each other? Because if we're going to stay mad at each other, then get a divorce. So the chances are, whatever happened can be talked about, worked through, and even if you don't find an answer to it, you have to understand that no life is without the proverbial rain falling in it. So if there's difficulty, there's difficulty. You just don't get crazy. Don't make everything so crazy monumental. It's an issue comes, let it pass through, and the sun will come out tomorrow, to be sure.
And again, just there are people they can talk to about this. They can talk to their priest, They can talk to, you know, counselors or whatever, so don't go running into a divorce, you know.
Absolutely. There's always professional help.
Looking back, what would you do differently if you could?
Differently.
Get a divorce. No. Only kidding.
Differently about our whole marriage, my goodness.
Or in like any aspects of time. Like for me, it'd probably be invest in Apple.
Right. Absolutely, yeah. We do it differently. You know what? I'm not a big looking back
Yeah.
kind of guy. I'm not a big. I just, you know what? We did what we did. You know what? I guess there are some things that we didn't do right, or we haven't done right. You know what? There's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I can do
Yeah.
about it. You know, those days are gone. That day is gone. I can only take care of. You know, I don't know the future, and I can only take care of this moment in time. I'm a big moment in time guy. So that's how I live. Don't look back.
What would you say what would you say is the key to a happy marriage?
Well, I think a lot of what Daddy just said, you know, you move forward, you don't look back, you be there for each other, you try to apologize to each other, and don't be so stubborn that it's just like, well, no, you have to be there for each other and recognize, you know, there are times when you're going to disagree about things, but that doesn't mean, oh, marriage is over. You know.
Do you think a couple should live together before deciding to get married? Why or why not?
I don't think there's a single answer to that. You know, I'm not going to say that they shouldn't. I don't mean it from the point of view that, you know, it's wrong from a moral standpoint. I don't know. I think it depends on the couple. It depends on where they are in their relationship. It depends on whether they know for sure if they're going to get married or if they're just, you know, kind of dating. It depends on all their factors in their lives. I don't think it's something you can really answer.
You know what? I just wanted to say very quickly here. You know, what's the key to being married? There's no key. There is no key. If it was a key, it would be, you know, it would be easy. You know, people wouldn't need counseling. Oh, here's what you do. Here's the blueprint. Again, like I was saying before, every day a little bit different, a little more nuanced than the day before. And as to whether people should live together, and this gets into the same thing. Everybody's different. For us, we got married, you know, but we'd been dating for a long time. In different circumstances, we might have lived together. I don't think that's necessarily the wrong thing if two people love each other. It's getting married is obviously you make the commitment. That's what it is. You say, I'm committed to you. Not getting married seems like you're hedging your bets, which again, you know what? I've said this to you many times, Matt. In life, making decisions is not an easy thing to do, but it is an imperative. You must make decisions. Some people can't make decisions. Some people don't know how. They don't know how to say, you know, I want to be committed to this person, but I don't. I want to be able to make an exit if I don't like it anymore. We knew that it was right. We knew it. There was no question. Here we are 30 years later. It must have been the right move.
Okay.
Okay?
That's good.